Is it parliamentary or popular initiative? The memories of fallen Okoa, Kenya, and BBI mutilation by Ruto's political brigades, throwing President Ruto in a deep end in his quest to change the constitution during his reign. And his voting constituency tend to believe that this was not part of the plan. Which way? In this podcast, we unpack the intrigues behind Raila's handlers opposing what is seen as William Ruto man-marking Raila Odinga. Kindly subscribe to our channel, click the notification bell, and also like our video. I want to start by sharing, by saying a very big congratulations to members of this channel that are graduated from different universities. I know I've been receiving those messages. I've managed to maybe attend some two ceremonies. Jack and Eve, big congratulations to you, and what about graduate. May God bless you and give you jobs. Consensus building towards amendments proposed to Parliament in William Ruto's letter in about creating the office of Leader of Opposition, amongst other proposals, seems is going to be a tall order because politicians have started drawing publicity stunts. And I agree with the pundits who argued that when William Ruto wrote the letter to Parliament, it was just gaining some political mileage. I have listened to my governor, James Aggrey Orengo, speaking in game, reading malice in William Ruto's move, and he seems to say that the process is a bit misguided.
Katiba naongeza kwamba katiba ambayo inabadilishwa kupitia bunge moja kwa moja bila kuja kwa wananchi kwanza ni hatari kabisa. Unajua BBI ilienda kwa kila mtu na hawa walisema ya kwamba BBI haikuwa na msingi. Sasa wamerudi kwa njia tofauti na wanapeleka kwa bunge bila kusikizana na wananchi kwa jumla. Kwa hivyo tunaomba ya kwamba kama ni kweli mnataka kurekebisha sehemu zingine za katiba, tafadhali tupitie wananchi kwanza. Wananchi wakikubali, sisi tutakuwa na mjadala, tutaongea pamoja kama Wakenya, alafu bunge itapitisha. Lakini hii mambo ya kwenda bunge moja kwa moja ndiyo imeleta matatizo mingi sana katika Kenya hii. Hawaje kutoka wale.
Orengo is a veteran lawyer and has been in almost all those processes of amending our constitution. He's been at the center of it. But what is shocking many people is the way William Ruto has handled it. And give it to him, while speaking in Nyandarua, he seems to be trying to reach out to the Mount Kenya team, telling them that we need opposition to make sure that the government is kept on check. So this is in conformity with even a previous statement he made while they were demonizing handshake. Rigathi Gachagua is on record maliciously attacking Raila. That what happened in handshake was lack of opposition, and according to them, they needed opposition. So I want to get a glimpse of what Ruto said before we look at a very critical aspect in this podcast.
Tutafanya na bidii, tunang'ang'ana kung'ang'ana. Hata wale wa upinzani mimi naona pia wanang'ang'ana, wanapanga maandamano, wanajaribu kutukosoa, wanajaribu kutukumbusha hiyo mambo yao waendelee, na sisi tunawatakia heri na upande huo. Sisi tutafanya hii yetu na bidii. Ile tu mimi nawauliza Wakenya wote, kila mtu afanye na upande yake na tufanye kwa amani.
So to the common man there, rather to mwananchi, at this point, I want us to differentiate between the parliamentary and the popular initiative. The thing is, all these two processes are available for amendment of the Constitution. So William Ruto wrote the letter, and in the letter that was written to the speakers, he was asking the speakers to look at how the amendments can be done on the CDF to be in the Constitution, the affirmative action, the two-thirds gender rule, so that 76 members, women members, are nominated to the Parliament and Senate, and the creation of that office. And this is what you need to know. Parliamentary way of amending the Constitution is what is the route that is normally available. That's what government does daily. It is the route that executive uses to execute their legislative agenda in the floors of House, where something, a bill can be processed, midwifed by the cabinet or from the executive, and then it's given to the leader of majority in the National Assembly, then it's taken to the floor of House. Or all the way it can still come from even a parastatal or a ministerial from a ministry, then it goes to a parliamentary committee, it's allowed, then from the committee, it's processed and brought in the floor of House. Then it will go through the process until it becomes a law. So that is normally available. But however, the popular initiative tend to be very tedious, lengthy, with vote mobilization and political contestation. So the popular initiative is what was tried even in the BBI. So what happens is when the issues are brought together, are created, then we collect 1,000 signatures, 1 million signatures. The signatures are supposed to be verified by the IBC, a fully constituted IBC. So after the IBC process, it goes to the floor. It's supposed to be passed by the county assemblies, those of Senate, the majority county assemblies. Then from there, it should get majority approval from the two houses, that's the National Assembly and the majority house. So what happens is this: there are aspects in the Constitution that touches on structure of government, like even the expansion of the executive, matters on the changing of the election date or even the term of the president, that it is mandatory that it must go to the people. So, but there are others that can still just be amended in the Constitution. So what happens is that if either of the houses fails to pass the bill, it will be taken to the people. Whichever way, if a bill would touch on the structure of government, especially that of the executive, it's also a must, it must be taken to the people. So on that way, it will get to a referendum. So the last time, or the challenge here is, my point was the popular initiative is, number one, if we are to go through a referendum, look at what is happening at the commission. We don't have a commission. Now, in this discussion we are having, we cannot forget about the IBC, unless Raila Odinga will not be picking up from the 2017 prejudice. So, we don't have a commission. So, it will mean that either way, we'll have to start somewhere. However, we've had two instances we tried popular initiative since our constitution was promulgated in 2010. That was Oduor Kenya and BBI. And this is what happened.
The appeal is allowed on issue number 4. The appeal is allowed on issue number 5. The appeal is allowed on issue number 6. The appeal is allowed on issue number 7. The appeal is disallowed on issue number 2. The appeal is disallowed on issue number 3. Those are the orders of the court. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for your patience. We will seek your indulgence to perfect the final judgment As you can see, we have so many pages to put together to come up with one judgment. Putting it together, it was very difficult because of the privacy involved and the logistics to put it together before delivery. We intend to do this and issue the judgment of the court on Tuesday next week. Today we will issue a press summary of this judgment, which will come out shortly in about 1 hour. Thank you very much for your forbearance and for your cooperation.
So you see that the other speech was during the Okoa Kenya when they spoke about how people drew signatures and, you know, and it was bungled by the IBC. But we know that it's political operatives that made sure it will not see the end, it will not see the light of the day. So the Popular Initiative Way has never succeeded in a quest to change the constitution. In fact, the two unsuccessful attempts there are two attempts to change the constitutions that did not work, or rather, I've never seen the light of the day. We've just been doing amendments here and there. So, I want to show this aspect is, however, parliamentary will be good, but it also had its own pros and cons. Then the agitation on William Ruto's side is on the population. And I'm saying this. We are talking about a constitutional moment, and Mount Kenya is quiet about even the revenue allocation iniquities. What Uhuru Kenyatta spoke about, the 1 man, 1 shilling, 1 vote. And when this conversation gets to the people, all these are coming on board. Let me show you some tweets here. And I strategically picked these tweets because these were bloggers who campaigned for William Ruto, and I saw their reaction. They said, "Okay, this must have been from a point of influence." This is Benson Masharia. He's saying, "As Ruto crosses the 100 days mark, I have started wondering whether this is the same Ruto I supported online and mobilized an entire world to vote for him. He promised a pro-hustler constitutional amendment, but on that front he has scored a 0. We are sorry, rescue us, Baba." Now, I want to show you another one. This is Bianca. Check out, you will realize these tweets, these accounts are really of people that campaigned. "President William Ruto, I have gone through the plan, page by page, chapter by chapter. There is nowhere you promised to create the office of opposition. Nowhere you promised to change the constitution. I am only seeing Mama Mboga, Boda Boda. What happened, truthful men?" This is Nehemia saying, "Mimi heri niwaambie ukweli, mapema niseme, msiseme niliruka mtu. When I was supporting KK, I never heard them say that they would create the official opposition leader post. Therefore, KK has betrayed and conned me. Consequently, come 2027, I cannot in good conscience support President Ruto." Now, this is just a snippet of this reaction. And if you are active on Twitter, you'll realize that there is a very strong contestation on whether Mount Kenya is supporting William Ruto in this move. I don't know. We are all here, and let's make political observation to see how this plays out. Let's listen to the voice of Raila Odinga's handlers. Raila's handlers are insisting that the new office of leader of opposition could be created, but it should not come with the prescription on how the opposition is going to critique the new administration. I don't know that you buy that. And I know many people that are against the creation of that office are saying that it could be premised as a new form of handshake, which many people are not demonized, but for me, I can tell you that an handshake tomorrow, next week, next month, I will be the happiest, because we know what it really meant when there was a handshake between Uhuru and Raila. Many of the Luo leaders seeing Raila being kept under hostage or rebirth of the handshake arrangement. But I think that we should not be so much rigid on this aspect. The discussion on whether parliamentary or popular initiative is viable, it's a good discussion, but it should not ward off the necessity of Raila Odinga to play the office opposition, because many people seems to be very comfortable as saying that let Raila go to the street, or let's go to Mandamano, let's go to those consultative forums. But guys, I think that has been done in the past, and Raila is not in his heydays. I'm disappointed because here, if you look at what happened in Kamkunji, do you know that John Mbadi, ODM party chairman, was not in Kamkunji? Do you know that my member of parliament was not in Kamkunji? Do you know that Junet Mohammed was not in Kamkunji? So politicians are posh, but they want to push Raila so that Raila can keep the population afloat. On 2027, they can use Raila's court to hang on and seek election. And so for me, the need to push the strict way, it does not. We must all agree that whichever way, whether parliamentary or popular initiative, that office is needed. Raila also needs to rest. These are things we must tell the people. That is the truth. Raila also needs to rest. Let me tell you. This is the reason why Ruto is going parliamentary. But later on, he has decided to go parliamentary. This is the reason. You know, Ruto will not want the country mood, or rather the constitutional agenda, to get into the mind of the population. Because many people have said that was not on table. And I can tell you, behind the scene, Mount Kenya is not supporting William Ruto. And he's seeing that picking a constitutional moment can be used by political detractors. Even the rebirth, the Mount Kenya team, would come up and say no. Yes, that sisi hatutaki hiyo. They will re-engineer an opposition within Mount Kenya. Because whichever way, when it comes up, the civil society can gang up and merge with maybe form a coalition, conform with some part of the population, and they form a political contestation on this. So he's very delicate on going popular initiative and will really want to push parliamentary, because on that, it is not going to the population. And that's why the guys that, we don't have, is going to eat taxpayers' money. Look here. Some of these things, to sit down, after easy elections, but America usually they gave 18 billion to the IBC. So some of these things you are going to mobilize outside. Now, it also has the risk of a full-blown sector approach. This is it. When you go popular initiative, what it means is it's going to expand public participation. And I think I've always had one challenge with the president, that you can't turn your opinions to be laws. You know, I've always had that problem, because, and one of the things that was seen is even the boarding school issue. It's an opinion. It's an opinion that and somehow it changed to be a policy, and now we are now scrapping boarding schools. There are many things, and people have been complaining, and if you realize, some civil societies are complaining that the executive is making decisions without public participation. Very good, law guided. We need to have a framework of public participation. Next. So the president doesn't want a vote mobilization that can create a political contest, because a political contest would reshape 2027 election. That is it. And that's why everything that is being done here is political. Very political. Because how much this would be seen as we want accountability, but the truth of the matter here is William Ruto wants to manmark Raila and get political capital from this move. Ionekane, he will go to another church and say, so now Raila after him mandamano nini nikaona, and that's why they're talking about that mandamano. You know, like even Raila is not talking about mandamano. I can tell you, if that thing is passed in parliament tomorrow, then Raila says something, they will go to the people and say, tunaona alikuwa ameanza kupanga maandamano, then tukampatia ofisi, sasa taachane na sisi. Look at that. And in fact, that it's a coincidence that the consultative forums is going, they're going to the population, telling the population about Maandamano, so that they link and say that, look here, I think he was going to the street because he wanted that office. I don't know. That's my position. I don't know your take. I don't think the discussion is about parliamentary or popular initiative, but give me a very constructive feedback. What do you think should be the way forward? Are we talking about a constitutional moment that should not be there? Or what is your take on Raila's handlers? Kesha.